How many times recently has a report come out that our government is doing some questionable things that you didn't know about? It seems like every month there's a new report of the government overstepping its bounds, such as Snowden and the NSA, civil forfeiture, and border patrol practices. Over the course of Joseph Stalin's dictatorial leadership of Russia, over 20 million people died from forced starvation, prison camps, and other situations. That's more people than Hitler and Lenin combined. That's over 33 times as many people as the Civil War. And the craziest thing is, the citizens hardly knew it was happening until later on. After Stalin's death, a man named Nikita Khrushchev took over the helm of the Soviet Union and set out to reform many parts of the Union. Khrushchev and his successor Gorbachev started to expose Stalin's backward practices and reform the government. While this seems like a long while ago, we still face some of the issues seen in the Soviet Union here in America. When we are blissfully unaware of what the government is doing, we can tend to turn a blind eye to things. We might find appalling. For instance, what are they really doing down at RNL? At the end of the day, as annoying as the political bickering is in the country, it's good to know that we have dissenters to every issue and people to fight back tyranny. Joseph Stalin gained power in the Communist Party by essentially killing off everyone who would have gotten the job before him. In power, he surrounded himself only by those who perfectly agreed with his ideas, creating a cult of personality. A cult of personality, or a cult of the leader, arises when a country's regime, or, more rarely, an individual, uses the techniques of mass media, propaganda, the arts, patriotism, and rallies to create an idealized, heroic, and worshipful image of a leader. In the 2014 journal article, In the Shadow of the Gulag, by Marcus Miller, he adds that Joseph Stalin filled up the political arena with his party members and only those who agreed with his policies. This led to policies being passed where millions and millions of people were being sent to the Gulag during the duration of his presidency. Soldiers would come home from war prison camps and be immediately shipped off to prison camps at home. Stalin said it was necessary for the good of the country, and nobody in his little cult of personality dared to disagree. Stalin also had large censorship campaigns. The Communist Party censored religion, arts, and literature across the whole nation in order to mentally control people. The overreaching grasp of the Communist Party during this time began to be known as Stalinization. After Stalin's death in 1956, Nikita Khrushchev gave a secret speech titled On the Cult of Personality and Its Consequences. He laid out that he hoped to bring the Soviet Communist Party back to true communism. Within his speech, Khrushchev argued that Stalin's hero complex was contrary to the views of the party. He even brought up that Lenin called Stalin excessively rude. This speech was a forewarning of the things to come under Khrushchev's rule, and it was received with mixed emotions from many of the people left over from Stalin's cult. When he came to power, Khrushchev immediately went to work reforming and de-Stalinizing the Union. Khrushchev was responsible for releasing millions of people from work camps known as gulags that Stalin had been putting his political prisoners in for many years. This clearly had a massive impact and saved the lives of millions of prisoners. Stalin's cult-like following fought Khrushchev, but he knew what he had to do. Like he said in a speech, Khrushchev dismantled the cult of personality. This made Stalin purists attempt a coup to remove Khrushchev after Khrushchev moved Stalin's body outside of the Kremlin, but Khrushchev didn't back down. Next, Khrushchev hosted the 6th World Festival of Youth and Students. According to the article The Khrushchev Era by M. Macaulay from 2014, this was one of the first international events the Union hosted, bringing many new social trends into the country and had a massive impact throughout the country. This was a massive step for opening the eyes of the Russian people to the outside world. Khrushchev then got rid of most of the numerous censorships that Stalin had put on the media and culture. Many new Russian stars emerged as poets and songwriters were finally allowed to flourish. More so, it represented a turning point for the USSR as they began to open up to new ideas. They began to westernize on a larger scale, and Khrushchev finally had good relations with America and the Eisenhowers. Following Stalin's dictatorship, Khrushchev took many strides and succeeded as leader while reforming his party and westernizing. Uncensored performances of music and poetry were allowed. NATO was formed with the help of the US. The Warsaw Pact was created. Prisoners were rehabilitated. Sputnik was launched, and the Beatles even came to Russia. This was all thanks to the policies of de-Stalinization that Khrushchev implemented in the USSR. Now, To recap, I've shown the ways that Khrushchev effectively de-Stalinized the Soviet Union during his reign over the years. Khrushchev stood up to Stalin's cult of personality and made decisions that were best for the nation. Quality of life improved throughout his tenure. His policies removed censorship for poets, artists, and musicians, propelling Russian culture forward. He let go millions of people in work camps, and he helped in the world with the signing of the Warsaw Pact. He also began westernization with the introduction of new inventions such as tape recorders like Walkmans. All of these policies were part of an era of de-Stalinization in the Russian history. It's a great reminder to us all that you never know you're under a rock until you come out of it. At the end of the day, through all of the lives that were lost, we can always gain a valuable lesson by understanding history. Thank you.